one of our favorite guests in the near 6-year history of this show. Loved meeting him in person when he was here in studio as well. And as good a human as he is, a Major League Baseball player, currently raking at a particular clip that is very impressive. And he's from the Colorado Rockies. He's Charlie Blackmon here on the show. How are you, Charlie?
Hey, Rich. Thanks for having me.
I did not mention your average. Are you one of those players that doesn't want to talk about your statistics because you're a little superstitious?
I really don't like it. Yeah.
See?
I got some weird stuff that I do, and one of them is I try my best when things are going good not to look at the scoreboard or the numbers. I pretty much only look at the numbers when they stink.
Well, because I remember one of my colleagues at ESPN, whose name I won't mention, once mentioned to Paul O'Neill during the 2000 World Series just how hot he was. He was 6 for his last 10, and Paul nearly walked away from the interview. He was so pissed that the statistics were mentioned live like that.
I hate it, especially when it comes to like hitting streaks, which I had one last week. Whatever, it's over now, back to normal. But I don't like when people either state the obvious or, you just don't talk about something while it's happening. Like wait till afterwards and then be like, hey, you were really good, back then. It's baseball's such a mental game that, like, if you let it get to you and be like, wow, maybe I am, like, really feeling it right now. That's like the death of it.
Can't have it. So do you even stay away from like Meatloaf songs like 2 out of 3 ain't bad? Do you even stay away from stuff like that, Charlie? No, you're not that crazy. Okay.
No.
So what do you do? What is part of the whole Charlie Blackmon making sure everything goes right type of regimen that you got going on? What do you do? Or do you don't even want to like talking about that? Is that even a problem?
No. I just I try and stay in my little bubble, like stay in my lane.
Okay.
And try and know that I'm doing everything I need to be doing. Like scouting and practicing and just putting myself in a good place mentally where, like I don't have anything to worry about. And then, of course, I try and stay away from the media as much as I can. But here I am.
I appreciate you accommodating. Do you do, because I've been around so many great athletes, been fortunate enough to work with some. Deion Sanders always used to lay out his uniform on the floor before putting it on, so you'd imagine greatness. I will throw Terrell Davis under the bus. He would take a bubble bath the night before. Always would have to do stuff like that. Do you have that, Charlie?
I don't have anything that I think is weird like that.
Okay.
I do just try and keep things in perspective. Like every time that I go out on the field, I need to be thankful for the opportunity to be there, right? Like, a lot of things have to go right. I have to be young, healthy, and pretty good at baseball in order to be able to play in a big league game. So if my mind is right there, that's a pretty good start. And the second thing is when I go out there, I have a chance to do something great every day. And that's just kind of readying the mechanism. Like if my mind is in the right place, good things can happen. Usually doesn't, usually you're average or mediocre, but that's when, that's what makes a great day so special.
Charlie Blackmon, who did have the Meatloaf stat line, if you will, 2 out of 3 for 2 runs batted in yesterday, and that's the only statistics I will mention here in this interview right here on the Rich Eisen Show with the Rockies center fielder. All right, let's get into it. What is it like running out on the field right now? No fans, middle of COVID-19 protocols all over the place. What is it like for you right now, Charlie?
At first, it was really different. But I'll say this, like baseball players can get used to almost anything if they do it enough, right? Like guys keep throwing harder and harder and harder, but like you still can't throw a fastball by some of these guys. If you see it enough, you can make that your new normal. And so our new normal is really weird compared to last year. But the one thing I will take away from it is it's a super intimate game now. If you have the opportunity to like tune in, you should check it out. Like there's no like ambient noise. When our third baseman Aaron Arenado makes a great play, I can be like, hey Nolan, great play, and he can look back and be like, thanks. Like it's weird that he can hear me all the way across the field. And it's just super intimate. You got your teammates are the only people screaming. And, I mean, it's more like you're just playing for your teammates instead of for the fans, which, everything should be about the fans. But if there's one thing that's, also important, it's the teammates you're playing for.
Of course. And then, staying healthy for your teammates and doing the right thing to do that is important. And I want to get to that in a second. Do want to get to you first. You did get COVID-19, and do you have any lingering effects of having had COVID-19, Charlie?
Rich, I think I'm 100% recovered. I wouldn't chalk anything that I'm feeling up to a lasting effect from the COVID virus. And, I'm lucky to be in that position. But my experience of the virus was that it wasn't that bad. But I know that there's, not everybody is young and in pretty good shape and going to bounce back as quickly as I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like, based on my experience, it was tough to see how much our culture has changed to dodge this virus. But, based on other people's experience, that kind of makes it a little bit makes me understand why we're changing so much, because it can be so dangerous.
Because it can be.
Not too bad.
What do you mean by dodging it and the difficulty, and what do you mean by that? What you said a minute ago.
Like I felt sick for a couple of days.
Right.
And I think it's, if it was up to me, I wish I could have got it, at the beginning of spring training, and then we just had a normal baseball season. But not everybody's experience is going to be like that, right? Like, you can't just assume that everybody's going to bounce back and be okay. You do have to, prepare and try your best to keep the at-risk people healthy and safe.
Charlie Blackmon of the Colorado Rockies here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how often are you guys being tested? Are you different because you've had it, or what's that about? Walk me through your protocol.
Our protocols are pretty strict, and they're getting even more strict because we've had a few positives pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But we test at least every other day, and they're doing a good job of getting those tests turned around very quickly. And then, we're wearing masks everywhere except for, like, when you're actively eating or drinking, in which case you're socially distant, or you're on the field playing the game. You pretty much have to wear a mask everywhere. They have mask police walking around the locker room that have to, their only job is to, make sure that you're wearing your mask. A lot of what I do to prepare for the game is changing. Like, I can't scout like I used to scout. I used to go in there and sit on the computer and, pull up all the database. Like, you can't do that anymore. No communal computer stations. I have to do it all from, my personal iPad. They've made it more difficult in the training room. Everybody's wearing gloves. They have to, if you get in the hot tank on the road now, the hot tanks are usually like a one big tub, right, for one person. If you get in the hot or cold tank and you get out, they have to drain all the water out, fill it right back up. We're doing our best to try and keep everybody safe.
Do you feel safe?
Honestly, I feel safe. Like, if you're asking me, I'm not trying to make a huge statement about opting out or anything like that,
mm-hmm.
but I do know that I feel very safe, here with these protocols and all this testing, and having a highly trained medical staff, taking care of me. I feel probably more safe, here doing what I'm doing rather than, at home. Like, when I was at home, I was struggling to find a place to test. I was struggling to get in front of someone who wasn't associated with the team that could help me medically in this situation. So I feel really safe.
Well, what's the conversation that you're Charlie Blackmon here on the Rich Eisen Show? What's the conversation you and your teammates are having with each other about being smart once you're out of the facility and not going anywhere, or breaking protocol in a manner in which it appears two members of the Cleveland Indians did? Jeff Passan of ESPN reporting a bunch of Indians are so upset that they made sure that these players were optioned out. So I'm wondering, what's the conversation you're having about staying strong for each other and healthy for each other and smart?
Yeah, we got together very early and got we basically, everybody had a voice. We decided, hey, like, what do we want to do as a team? What's important to us? And we decided, number one, the most important thing is that we want baseball to be played, right? Like, we think we have a good team. We want a chance to go to the postseason. We want to play baseball. So we started making some team rules. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. The best way to make sure that there's baseball played is that nobody gets sick, And so we started making these rules. No going out. No, like, I can't bring my people on the road. Like, I can't have people getting, going through the airport, riding on a plane, showing up in LA when we're there to play, and then I hang out. We're not going to do any of that kind of stuff. We're going to do what we need to do to play, and that's pretty much stay in your bubble, right? Go to the field, play the game, come back, and either be with your family who's been quarantined with you the whole time, or be by yourself. And that's not only to keep us able to play baseball, but like if we got guys going out and getting sick and we do shut things down, like, you're going to take a paycheck away from everybody who's worked really hard, to get to this level and only have a short, window to capitalize monetarily on that hard work. I mean, it can be pretty serious, and I don't think it should be taken lightly. People that aren't trying to be on the same page with everybody else.
But this is a conversation you and your colleagues had with each other, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this isn't – nobody forced this on us, right? I mean, they told us, there's rules, right? But this came from within. This was organic. We want to see this season completed. We want to see what we can do. And so we kind of implemented these measures amongst ourselves.
Me too, Charlie. I'll tell you what, man. I know last we spoke, you were talking about I want to play and I hope the politics stay out of it. And unfortunately, we saw what did happen. But the fact that you're back, I'm loving it. I'm watching it with my kids. I'm as into it as ever. And, I being in a position like the one that I am in, hear some folks saying, well, it's only 60 games, whatever. I think the winner of this season, the banner should be bigger because of everything that is going on. I mean, and I'm wondering what you feel going through this as a player and what it would mean for a Colorado Rockies World Series championship out of a season like this, Charlie.
I think there's a couple different ways to look at it, right? It's not as many games. There's weird, crazy circumstances, but I do know that the people that want it the most are the people that continue to prepare, even when spring training got suspended. Kept going to the yard, kept working hard, kept their body in shape, and really wanted the game to happen. Like, those are the people that are going to succeed. Especially this season. There's a lot of people that maybe weren't there mentally, like didn't want it, you didn't continue to work. Like, those are the people that are going to get beat, or get, unfortunately, some people are getting hurt. And I don't want to blame the people that are getting hurt on that they weren't working hard. Like, it was a very quick ramp up, but I still think, like, you're seeing, like, the competitive desire come out from these guys, and everybody has a chance to make it to the playoffs. I mean, I still think it's a very competitive season. I do think also we've changed the playoff format so that more teams will make it. So we've addressed that short season to allow more teams into the playoffs. So I do think, like, you're going to have to really earn it if you want this World Series. You're going to have to play multiple series in the playoffs against good teams to get there. I mean, I think it's really exciting, and I can't wait for the next month or two.
Me too, man. And I just love it how you say that it's so quiet in the park that, your teammates hear each other. I imagine, though, the umpires can hear what you're saying a little bit easier too, Charlie. Yes,
yeah.
no?
That's been an issue already. Like, I've spent a lot of time in the dugout. I kind of, I operate in the same way, whether there's fans in the stands or not. It's kind of ingrained. And when certain calls are made, and I can only see, like, how high or how low the ball is. And when there's a ball that's called a strike and one of my teammates is hitting and it's too low, like, the first words out of my mouth are, "That's too low," and it's really, really loud. Well, usually the umpire can't hear you, or he can pretend like he's not hearing you. But now it's like, it's almost like you personally offended him, and so it's like he hears it so loud and clear, he like has to look over, and then he's like, oh, it's Blackmon there. Like I can see him on the top step looking straight at me. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't had more issues.
Yeah.
And, it's tough for those guys, too, because they kind of ramped up quick.
Of course.
It's just the communication level. Like, baseball is not a great sport of communication. Well, the communication level has gone way up this year, with no fans in the stands. You can hear a lot more.
Right. Yeah, you can hear it, right? And then even the bench clearing moments, everybody kind of, I guess, tries to maintain a social distant bench clearing situation. What did you think of those that we saw recently, Charlie?
I wouldn't even know what to do. Guys are playing hard. It's still a very emotional game, and you're going to get fired up about things. And honestly, there's a point to which, like, if you boil over that edge, you're not caring about your distancing. And that's what happened. And I hope we don't have any negative, consequences from that. But, you don't like to see it. It is very exciting. I'm not going to lie. Like, I love watching it when things like that happen.
You do? You do? So like, did you, when you were watching the Joe Kelly, hit-a-thon, and then that look that he gave the Astros, you kind of liked that one?
Loved it. I mean, let me back up.
Okay.
Like, even if people deserve to get hit, which I think should happen sometimes, like, I'll say it, you can't throw at people's heads. Like, you can't do it. Like, that's going to really hurt people.
Right.
Even, if you're trying to hit them in the hip and it sailed up by their head, your fault. Like, you should be punished. But at the same time, like, I think the game's getting younger, and I don't want to softer, but like the new school is very different than old school. And you've got a little bit of both playing the game right now, and sometimes it doesn't mix very well. And, I think Joe Kelly tried to lay down the law, and I think it's great. I wish, some of those pitches hadn't have been up by somebody's head.
Right.
And you know what? Like, for him to make a look at the dugout like that, like, I think that's just way better than seeing a bunch of F words I'm going to have to bleep out, and I can't let my kids watch it. Like, that's a little more wholesome to me somehow.
Well, he did give kind of a schoolyard sort of, pouty face, sort of like, go cry to mom. Yeah. I think that's what he kind of gave. That was the vibe that I picked up.
Once again, the communication has increased this year. He communicated his feelings very well. He did a great job of letting the Astros know just how he felt. And I think everybody else picked up on that.
They did pick up on that, Charlie. You are correct. Hey, Charlie, I love our chats. I really do, and greatly appreciate it. I know you don't do it a lot. And just another reason to wear a mask is if you're chirping at Blue, he won't know it's you. If you're a loud talker, if you're learning that you're a loud talker now, based on everything that's going on, just wear that mask. He cannot tell. Blue will not be able to tell. You're telling him it's too low if you're masked up.
Yeah, that's true.
It's another benefit, just another benefit. Thanks for the time, Charlie. Let's chat again real soon. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Rich.
Right back at you. The one and only Charlie Blackmon.
I mean, how do you not like that guy?
The one and only Charlie Blackmon. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.